Hello and welcome to the United Stand on a very wet and windy day. Well, not so windy, but a very wet day. So let's talk about the latest Manchester United transfer news and Jose Mourinho overnight making a very interesting press conference in relation to the transfer news. As you know, the headlines will be Mourinho admits that Manchester United transfer plans are in tatters, and effectively we spoke about it a little bit last night, to be honest, didn't we? But the reality is he's come out and basically said, I mean, I don't have the exact quotes, but more or less, we're not the sort of club that pays the market rate, and although I want 4 transfers, I will make do with 3. I just think that is ultimately an issue, and I've had some people saying, oh, you're being a little bit negative on Twitter about it, which, you know, if you think that, fair enough, but the reality is our manager wanted 4 transfers and he's now having to make do with 3. If later in the season, which is a distinct possibility, we're struggling and Mourinho comes out and says, well, I didn't get the players I wanted to, what are we going to do as fans? Are we going to accept that, or are we going to moan about it now and say that it's not right, that our manager is having to publicly admit he's not getting the backing from the club because they're not willing to pay the price? Penny pinching, effectively. So Mourinho says that Manchester United are not a club that's willing to pay the market rate, whilst we sit and watch our rivals Manchester City overpay to bring the players in that they want. I mean, over 50 million for Kyle Walker is a joke, but Manchester City have paid it, and as I said last night, you have to make a decision. You either say, right, well, we're not going to pay silly money, and then you sit back and have a season where, like Mourinho said last night, I'd like 4, but if I get 3 I'll be happy because it allows me to bring a little bit of balance, a little bit of balance, a little bit of make do from Manchester United. You know, this was the summer where we were meant to be, well, we are in the Champions League, we are the Europa League winners, we are hopefully going to challenge for the title, and yet we're making only 3 signings. And who is this 3rd signing going to be? Because effectively we watched Manchester United on Tuesday night and we know that they need a winger, but we also know that they 100% need a centre defensive midfielder as well. So which is the one position we're going to get? Is it just going to be, well, we're not going to pay 50 million for Matic, so we'll go and get it's not 50 million for Matic, we're not going to spend 50 million on Perisic, who we really wanted, so we just won't do that deal, just like we won't do the Griezmann deal because it fell apart and we had no backup plan. So we'll just get Matic because he's a centre defensive midfielder and he's tall. I mean, that's my concern. I mean, Mourinho basically admitting he wants 4, he'll make do with 3. So who's the one we're sacrificing as well as Griezmann now? Is it the Perisic one, which I think it probably is? So we just get Matic in, who's just basically a clone of Carrick and Fellaini. That's what he is. I mean, he's a good player, but he's slow. And I saw a good quote this morning about, you know, Lukaku's a good signing, but last season we had Rooney and Zlatan. Now we've replaced him with just Lukaku, so we're actually a striker down, and potentially we're going to play 2 up front. But talk about the latest Manchester United transfer news, and I can basically kill it off quite quickly. There's talk of Verratti being taken over by Raiola, and Raiola's obviously done a lot of business in Manchester United. I personally don't like the Raiola situation there, where we're just signing his clients. We're basically becoming his club. But Verratti being taken over by Raiola doesn't necessarily mean that he won't do business with Barcelona. It also means that he's small, he's 5'5", he's a good player, but Verratti has only just been taken over by Raiola. I don't know why people are getting excited that we might be in for him. Mourinho has publicly said he had a list of 4, he'll have to make do with 3. At the time he did his list, Verratti wasn't under Raiola, so he's clearly not on the list. Renato Sanchez has been offered by Bayern Munich's chief executive, Rummenigge, saying that Sanchez won't play much this season. He can either go on loan or we'll sell him for 40 million. A year ago, Mourinho couldn't talk highly enough about Renato Sanchez. A year later, he's got an opportunity to sign him and we're not going to do it. So is Mourinho a liar, or is he just going to say, well, 1 bad season and that's not enough for me? So why are we not in for him? But again, I don't think he's on the list. Ross Barkley, we're linked to him. Everton want 50 million and he's got a year left on his contract. He should be worth half of that with a year left on his contract. I totally agree that the market is skewed, and it really is. I said this last night, the market is overvalued, and Mourinho said it himself. He used to pay a lot of money for players that were worth that were great players. You're now paying a lot of money for normal players, but that's the market. You know, I mean, it's so hypocritical. It makes me laugh that Manchester United and Mourinho are moaning about fees, yet football fans used to pay 20 quid to go and watch a football match. They're now paying 60 quid. So the Manchester United are just as bad as the clubs who are trying to sell us players, and I can't believe people are like feeling sorry for us. Manchester United used to be able to get a Manchester United shirt for 30 quid. It's now, some of them are like 80, 90 quid this season. So how can the club, you know, it's called inflation. They've inflated the prices massively against the fans, and now, because they want, and because transfer fees have inflated, they're moan about it. It's just so hypocritical, and it's just another example of the fans being mugged off. And the most important thing as well is, it's penny pinching from the Glazers. Manchester United, the richest club in the world, it was released a couple of weeks ago, and but our manager is coming out and saying, yeah, it's a difficult market and we're not the sort of club that overpays, so we'll just have to make do. That's the line from our manager. We're not going to spend all the money that we've got, we're going to make do. And as fans, I think that's a disgrace. I think it's a disgrace for the reasons I've just said there. They keep hiking the prices up against us, they keep making more and more profits, and where does that profit go? Into the back pocket of the owners when it should be being spent on the players. It's not acceptable that our manager said he wanted publicly 4 players and he's having to make do with 3. And all these latest talks now about, you know, Neymar and Barkley and Verratti, we may as well just sit down. They're not true. It's just papers trying to sell papers, or get us to click on links to do with the traffic that Manchester United fans, great Manchester United fans, bring in. But the reality is, I'm very, very unhappy about Mourinho's comments, and I'm surprised that so many people aren't, because you can say, oh, stop being negative, or you're always moaning. But the fact is, our manager has said our club will not pay the market rate and we'll just make do this season. We won't pay the market rate when we are more than happy to overcharge our fans, make billions and billions of profit, and then we won't pay the market rate for players. I'm really looking forward to the Man City game later. We will be doing a watch along. Join us live for that. There'll be an 8 o'clock show as well, but we'll discuss more about this, I think, on the watch along tonight. We'll be live from 1:30 watching the Man City game. I don't think we'll lose that game. I think we'll do quite well, but I think the squad we've got is good, and I'm not negative about that, but it's a 60-game season, and that squad's not good enough for a 60-game season. There's very good players in there, but the squad needs help, and that's what Mourinho wanted, and he's not got it. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all later, and have a good day.